Hi everybody, this is a video overviewing our first week of class. And so, before you start your first week's works though, is make sure you look at the syllabus and this welcome video. It's a bit long, it's 15 minutes, but it goes over very important information for the class. And so, watch this video. Especially watch this video before homework number 1 because it'll be hard to do that homework without watching the video first. So make sure you watch that video. So homework 1 is introducing yourself, and there's some other questions there. So that homework is due Sunday, the 22nd, so the first Sunday of our semester. And this homework is very important because if you don't do this homework, I'm taking that as evidence that you're not in the class and you can be dropped from the class because typically there's usually a relatively long wait list for this course. And so if you're not engaged in the class, if you're not doing homework 1, which is pretty easy to do, should take you about an hour watching the video and then doing 10 minutes of the homework, then you're not in the class. And so you could be dropped and somebody who's really wanting to get into the class be let in then. So make sure you do homework number 1 before the deadline. And then I'm going to show you the structure of the class here. So the structure of the class is that we have this thing in terms of topics and lectures and assignments. And so on Canvas, I'm going to break it up. We're going to have our topics, and then underneath the topics, there's going to be a lecture and then assignments. And typically, we'll have a couple topics per week. Not every week, but for most weeks, we'll have at least 2 or 3 topics. And so our first topic is frequency distribution, so I highlight it here. And then I have the lecture. And the lecture is in video. So here's the lecture video. You can watch this right here on Canvas if you click that. And then there's the PowerPoint. So in terms of helping you take notes, the PowerPoint is available here. And then if you like using YouTube in terms of closed captioning, there's always going to be a YouTube version for each of the lectures. And the advantage of the YouTube, obviously, is it has closed captioning. So some people like the closed captioning on the YouTube, so there'll be a YouTube version. I'll just simply say YouTube version, so it's that video. And so our layout will be like that for the lectures. And then for homeworks, or I should say assignments, so we have homeworks and we have labs. So the topic of frequency distributions doesn't have a homework, but it has a lab. So the lab is highlighted here. And then if you look at the lab, I'm going to open this up in another tab. The lab will have 2 things that are very important. One is there's the lab document. You see it right here. If you click this, you can download it. So make sure to download the lab document. And then there's a video here. So there's a 6-minute video here explaining the lab to you. And so definitely watch the video to get an explanation about how to complete the lab. And then this same thing is where you submit your assignment. And so it doesn't show up right here because it's in my view, not your view. But in your view, if you click on that assignment right here, that's also where you will upload your assignment. So you'll be uploading a Word document or a PDF. Do not upload pages. Pages can't be read by Canvas, and so you won't get any points if you have a Pages version. So make sure you use Word document or a PDF. And it has the due date here. So the due date for this is also the first Sunday. So if you watch the video welcome already, you know that these due dates are not the time to start working on the assignments. That's not what the due dates are. The due dates are the last possible time to do it. And so don't see that, oh, I have things to do on Sunday, and then you just blow everything off and you try to do everything on Sunday. It's not going to work. You can't watch the video lectures. You can't watch the video for the labs. You can't do the 3 assignments that are due on Sunday in one day. And so work early on those things. That's just the last possible time. So it's due on Sunday, but try to work on it earlier. And then there's a YouTube version of the video that's accompanying the lab. And then as I mentioned in the welcome video, is for your assignments, the homeworks, and the labs, you're going to be provided a key. Typically for the labs it will be a video, but this lab is pretty easy. So the key here is a Word document. So after you've done the lab, make sure you look at the key and you correct yourself. You see what things you did correctly and what things you got wrong, and the things you got wrong, try to understand how to do it in the correct fashion. That's your responsibility. Basically, I'll give you 5 points for doing the lab. Give it a good try. You might think right now as well, why would anybody do the lab or the assignments because the key's up there? Why don't I just copy the key? Not a good strategy. Yes, you'll get 5 points, but you're going to get a ton of points off in the exam. The labs and the homeworks are meant to prep you for the exams. So if you just kind of copy the key and try to get an easy 5 points, quote unquote, you're not going to learn anything. And when it comes to the exam, you're going to fail. So the keys are there to help your learning. And if you're in a state, don't worry. Sometimes people don't want to do this, and I tell them there's nothing wrong with it. So if you're doing your homework or your labs and you're stuck, you don't know what to do, there's nothing wrong with looking at the key for a little bit of a hint. I'd say don't look at the key to complete everything, but if you're stuck on a part, go to the key, look at that part, get yourself unstuck, and then go back and do the rest of it on your own. So there's nothing wrong with using the key to get yourself unstuck. I've encountered some people that will refuse to look at the key until they're done, and I'm like, well, you're really torturing yourself because there's probably some small thing you forgot, and if you just look at the key, you'll see that small thing, and that will kickstart you, and then you can complete the homework on your own or the lab on your own. So you can also use the key for that type of purpose to get yourself unstuck. So that's our first topic in week number 1. Our second topic in week number 2 is Intro to Statistics. So you're thinking, why is intro the second topic? Well, the Intro to Statistics lecture is pretty long, and it has a lot of terms in it. So I wanted to start you off with something that was more hands-on, which is the frequency distributions. So the Intro to Statistics has a little bit more of terminology. It's a bit longer of a lecture. And so I wanted you to get that second so you feel a little bit more comfortable with the class. And so just like with any topic, there's a video lecture. And there's the PowerPoint that goes along with it. So if you want to take notes or have that PowerPoint help you take notes, it's right there. You can use that for whatever you want to do. You can take notes directly on it. And then again, there's a YouTube version if you want the closed captioning. And then for the Intro to Statistics topic, there is no lab, but there is a homework. So there's a homework here. And so I'll open that. And you'll see in the homeworks that you can download the Word document that has the actual homework in it. And this levels of measurement homework, you need to watch this lecture. So if you haven't watched all of this lecture, you can't do this homework. And so watch that lecture to help you understand the homework. And the homework should be pretty straightforward if you've watched the lecture. And I'm going to go over this real quickly since this has been a problem in the past, but I think I have it on here. So I'm going to just download it. You can see what it looks like. Oh, it kind of looks funky. That's kind of nice actually in Canvas. And so what it asks you is it asks you to look at this survey, which I'm going to put up in Canvas in a second. So you open up this document here. So this document, Spring Stats Survey. I'm going to leave it there because we might use this document later too, so it's good to have this there. You might want to save this for the class. So it asks you to look at this survey. And the big thing is you're not answering the questions. So you are not answering these questions because I've had some students misunderstand the homework and they end up answering all of these questions, and then they say, I don't like this because these are personal questions. Why are you asking this? I'm not asking you these things. Don't answer the questions. That's not the assignment. So what the assignment is, it asks you to judge the level of measurement of each question. So the lecture on Introduction to Statistics goes over these things. And so this is the thing. You want to indicate the level of measurement, and if you have two possibilities for the levels of measurements for each question, then you say why. So if you look at this down here, you'll see that every question is here. So one is that question. You can see the question here. So you need to go to the survey to see what type of answers are possible for each question. So there's question 1, question 2. So you can see what are the answer possibilities. That will tell you about what the level of measurement is, which is explained in the video lecture, Intro to Statistics. And so for each of those, you're going to be choosing a box based on what you learned in the lecture about this. So for each question, you're going to make a judgment about the level of measurement. Again, do not answer these questions. That is not the assignment. The assignment is looking at the questions and looking at the answer possibilities and then thinking about the levels of measurement, which is explained in the video lecture on this topic. So that's homework number 1. And right there too is where you will submit your homework. And that again is due on Sunday. So you see that you have 3 things that are due on Sunday. You have the Intro to Yourself, which is homework number 1. You have the first lab on frequency distributions, and you have a homework on levels of measurement. That's probably about relatively normal that you'll have 2 to 4 assignments each week. So again, I want to remind you that Sunday is the last day to do it. Sunday is not the day to start this stuff. So it's probably good to get the introduction of yourself done maybe Monday or Tuesday. Get the first lab on frequency distributions, watch the video lecture, and do the lab maybe Wednesday, Thursday. And then Friday, Saturday, you can try to do this last part, the Intro to Statistics, and this first homework. And you might even finish it by Friday, and you have the whole weekend free. And so, start early and work on these things early. That's the key. So that's how Canvas is laid out and how to do the labs and the homework. If you have any questions, you can always ask me by email, or you can simply come to the Zoom sessions on Thursdays and ask about these things also. So that's the outline for the first week of this class, and I will talk to you later.